with Marema scoring, and then Richards Bay as well as TS Galaxy. Nothing changing from the situation that stood at halftime between those two sides. What does it mean as far as the log table is concerned? It means Kukuni stay top of the log. Mamelodi Sundowns narrow the gap by 1 point. What do you think of the performance? And still, I'm sure, Coach Shorty, it's still a point away from home for Mamelodi Sundowns. It can be looked at that way.
It can be looked at that way, according to us that are watching the game and looking at the stats and seeing how Marumo Gallants put a good foot forward against Mamelodi Sundowns. But for them, I think it will feel like a loss more than anything. It's the second time that they concede on the road, which means that they haven't traveled too well because they considered it cheaper. They're conceding now against Marumo Gallants. And also, Marumo Gallants created a lot more chances for them. In the first half, there were 0 corners between the two in that game, which tells you that Sundowns was not getting behind the defense of Marumo Gallants.
For Stellenbosch, well, a point still keeps them... they didn't get a point. They lost. So they stay right down in the basement of the league. It's not improving as far as that's concerned. A point for Richards Bay and Marumo Gallants getting that point. Golden Arrows going down in that match. The basement, not too much changing there.
Not much happening there so much. I think also it shows how then the games are becoming so close in the early stages of the league. It shows that there's competitive. Teams are willing to be fighting for points because these are the crucial stages of the league. But also it speaks about also the games coming thick and fast. And say coming thick and fast, you need to find your routine. And I think most of the teams, they're not finding their routine. They're not finding their gear, which is it should be at this time when you're finding your first 11 and finding players that find form, which at this moment, that's why we see like 1-1s, you see like points are not moving so much. So it's important for teams now to start finding those winning momentums.
So let's get a look at what happened in this encounter at the Petros Mulemela Stadium, where Sundowns took the lead, and it comes by virtue of Ikram Reyners getting his 49th goal in his PSL career. Great ball put in by Allende. Perfect finish.
6-7 touches and it's a goal without Marumo Gallants touching or intercepting that pass. It's how swiftly they were moving the ball. In the first 20 minutes of the game, they were taking so much on their left side, the right side of Marumo Gallants, and they were not getting anything. The moment that Allende went deep to try and establish play from deep, and then he moved by passing the midfield, and with them playing with two strikers, it made it easy for them to be able to keep the centre backs occupied without them being able to cover the full backs, because Mabuja goes out, but there's no cover that comes to him. And even in the two centre backs that are in there, they are occupied, but they are not defending, they are not marking. If Reyners misses it, Shalulile is right behind him, and he is able to finish it up if Reyners doesn't finish it. So it just shows you how swiftly and quickly their game differed today. Take it wide, there's two strikers, quickly try to bring in those crosses, which didn't work too much for them.
Own goal scored by Cupido. That's what the official statistics are saying here, but take nothing away, I'm sure, from Ndlondlo's contribution to making sure that this ball ends up in the back of the net.
It's his run. I think it's his intelligence, able to see the space between the centre back and the full back in this case, which is Cupido, also ball watching, not seeing. But also Lunga, he sees Ndlondlo. I think he could do better, I think, with this moment, and then I think that resulted. But don't take away from Ndlondlo's run, which it was good. I think his performance also, it was good. It was filled with energy, it was filled with the fight. Because of, if you don't have the quality, you can always bring on the fight that can be able to instill within the team. But I think Lunga could have done better in terms of seeing the player in front of him. Because of, it's one ball over the top, which I think it takes me back to the goal that they considered in the MTN, whereby the ball was floated and then he couldn't see the man, and then they floated him and it resulted to a goal. So it's the same incident that keeps on happening. Teams are starting to see that one ball over the top, and especially if there's no pressure, it speaks about being smart as a defender also. Unless you trust your pace enough to adjust and then try to recover, it's a matter of that.
When you're as dominant as Mamelodi Sundowns are, having the possession, what we expect, the defending league champions, you expect Washington or Ruby to have an incredibly busy day at the office. It maybe wasn't as busy as you think it might be. He did make saves, but he wasn't flying around. The ball wasn't crashing off the crossbar every 10 seconds.
Yeah, he made 5 saves and Ronwin made 4 saves, so it was evenly balanced. Actually, if you look at it deeper, you'll see that Gallants actually created more chances than Sundowns did. However, We called him out as a key player for Marumo Gallants, for him to be able to read the game, come out in spaces and areas where he makes the angles difficult for them to take shots. He even knows when to drop back and center, because if he drops back and centers, it makes it difficult for a player to pick a side and go.
This was an important save. In 3 minutes into the game.
Indeed, Thomas. It came at the right time. And also that's when I was questioning myself. You saved this one, but then you don't save the goal that was scored, which came underneath. I think maybe it's one of those, but also the chances that were created is just one. And then of course this one having to come to the part where he comes in and helps the team, which I still say he saved the day. But I think Sundowns also in terms of creativity, not so good tonight. I think also it was just a fair performance.
And at 40 years of age, he'll be incredibly happy at the contribution that he's still giving, and that he's the number one at Marumo Gallants.
I'm taking him back to Tuck's days when he first arrived. He was stellar for them when they went into their PSL, and he continued into different teams. And you see his prowess in terms of his bravery, how he's able to have strong hands and he's able to, fight for his team, because at this moment he's up against one of the tallest players in the league with Mutiba, and strongest as well. But he goes out there and he takes the ball out of danger, because most times goalkeepers want to catch the ball at that moment and it becomes difficult. So he's able to position himself well, and he's the strength and the heart of Marumo Gallants.
If it's 2 points lost, why? What was the reason for Mamelodi Sundowns not getting those 2 additional points today?
Simply creativity. I think the creativity that allows them to be in front of the goals, in terms of them taking risks in certain areas and taking the ball to the next level of Marumo Gallants, and then you start having your creativity.
Shot to Shugela.
Cool.
No Tembazwani. So Shugela there missing a little bit. Ribeiro missing from the side now. He's playing in the second division in Spain. Are those the players that are missing?
Well, you minus those ones. You speak about the ones that are available. Would you still have your Mkulisa who can come in and dribble, and in those important spaces? You still have the Clark, who's an upcoming youngster that has been involved in certain movements, and you still have the likes of Mapeni, which was not available. So I think there's still more that needs to be done. And in a big team like Mamelodi Sundowns, you need that one kind of player that is going to be a gem for you. And that's the nature of the game. You need that star player that's going to be able to win you big matches, and I think they should look at that in going forward.
Plenty of star players for Mamelodi Sundowns, but by Villa standards, still missing just that someone who can spark Sundowns into life in the middle of the park. 33% possession, suffering for Marumo Gallants, but the suffering paid. They were able to get the goal, they were able to create a couple of opportunities, and they take a
up, and how they end the game as well is still with 2 strikers, because they
Mutiba
try
comes.
to change. Mutiba comes in, and when you put in a Mudau, it means you want to dominate with wing play. Imagine if you keep Morena, you keep Mudau, it means you have something free-flowing with the 2 strikers that you're bringing in. So a lot of the changes did not complement the game plan today.
Guys, you talk about star players. Kulisa Mudau is back.
Exciting though, the best right back in the continent, right? I think it's good to see him in there's certain moments whereby it showed a bit of aggression, it showed a bit of, now we have width that has a dribbling width that will give you something more than anything. So it's good to see him having to don the Mamelodi Sundowns jersey. We'd like to see him going further in forward in terms of now how can he be able to continue with match performances. But I think addition to the team, heading to the coach on the other side of the right back. So we have Tapelo already and then Mudau also on the pitch. So you could see also with the aggression, and at certain times you could see he was stimulated that he wants to win. As you know for sure, when you're wearing that jersey, you want to win each and every game, but it wasn't meant to be today.
It wasn't to be. What was to be, a 1-1 draw. Just the second time that Marumo Gallants have been able to get anything out of a game against Mamelodi Sundowns. Last time was in 2021, 2022, and Ndlondlo was involved there. He scored today. Unlucky that the goal won't be credited to him. But again, important in getting a draw for Marumo Gallants against Mamelodi Sundowns. After the break, we'll be back with the action that took place in the other 3 encounters.